Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of the Instant Trailer Review Show. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Andrew.
And today we are reviewing Monsters University. I'm really excited that Pixar is revisiting some of their more fabled franchises.
Are you?
The big ones? Yeah, I am. I really am. I'm genuinely stoked. And I have to say, this trailer looks really good.
Really good.
It looks very funny.
Not only funny, but just the actual look of it is really, I think, a departure from some of the older Pixar movies where everything looks like 3D models and 3D space. This is looking more photoreal. Like the elements are made in like a real environment, and they're being lit right, and it looks really like they're really bringing up the production.
And the colors popping away even more so than they used to.
They have this subtlety to it now. It's very interesting.
The original Monsters, Inc. was really a benchmark in how they can make things look more realistic with Sully's hair.
Especially I remember that was a huge deal.
They're playing a lot with like dark and light space, and like it's very dark.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the original Monsters, Inc. and you look at this, it looks like the original Monsters, Inc. was sketched on a notepad.
Maybe I need to revisit Monsters, Inc.
It's a really fantastic film.
It feels very similar, in a good way.
Now, the interesting thing about Monsters University is that people, with the ending of Monsters, Inc., and I won't go too much into it in case you haven't seen it 10 years ago, but it set it up very well for a sequel, and everybody thought for years that they were going to make a sequel. So when they announced that they were working on another Monsters movie, everybody's like, oh, finally. But they went more as a prequel, which obviously is a prequel, which is an interesting choice.
Concern for me, to be honest.
I wouldn't say it's a concern. I think it's good because I think that Pixar has done the sequel thing. And, I mean, they did obviously they did Toy Story, and they did Cars to not so great effect.
Can I lay out my big concern with this movie? Very simply, prequels and sequels make sense. Prequels make sense in context of stories that I think are interchangeable, like Indiana Jones, which Temple of Doom's a prequel, or Star Wars, which it's a new batch of characters and new arcs to go through, or James Bond, who really doesn't grow that much. He grows in Casino Royale, but you know, they grew so much in Monsters Incorporated. There was such an emotional arc and a journey.
But to go backwards,
changed so much that to go back to a more naive, less emotionally filled kind of period in their lives, I think is a mistake.
It seems like they're just trying, and I don't know, I trust Pixar to pull through, but it seems like they're just trying to make a fun movie as opposed to like an emotional movie, which is fine. There's
but I'm sure there's going to be a significant amount of emotion. All their movies have that emotional.
But it just seems like a mistake to me in the sense that, like you were saying, it seems like they're trying to make more of a fun movie. I couldn't. This feels more like
it's supposed to be that they're not friends, and it's how they become.
Yeah,
friends.
it's the odd
enemies. They're like enemies. Yeah.
But my concern though is that like Pixar has a standard of like it can't just be a good movie. This has to be a classic. It's Pixar. This looks like Cars 2 in the sense that Cars 2 didn't have a plot. It was just a series of gags.
It does not look like Cars 2.
This trailer just looks like a series of gags.
To be fair about the Pixar thing, Pixar had like a 7-movie run where they were making masterpieces on and on and on. They're going to keep making movies, and we can't expect for them to be 25 movies in and for every movie to be like, I know they're not 25 yet.
I do expect, because financially they're okay, it seems like. I do expect them to at least try, and this doesn't look like it's trying to me.
I think they're definitely trying. They're returning to something that was that's.
And we'll see what happens. I just want to draw attention.
Well, Brave to me, I appreciate a lot more than most people because I think it tried to do something completely different.
It did
from Pixar's realm.
I agree.
Did something more.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it for that fact, but the movie was not.
Yeah, this looks more like Cars 2 to me. I wouldn't want a prequel to Toy Story because they grow so much in Toy Story. I don't think I would appreciate seeing them less of a emotionally.
If I could draw attention, they talked a lot about the design of the characters and how they're going to change. If you'll see, Sully's fur is a lot brighter, the colors are a lot lighter, like he's younger, and they're also thinner. And Mike, there's a few things that they did with shape language and things like that to just make it appear that they're a little bit younger. So far, I haven't seen them do anything with the voices.
They're also, I think they are doing some of the voices, because John Goodman's voice sounds a lot brighter. It doesn't sound as aged.
Oh, that's cool. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
I mean, that's something I pick up whenever I remember seeing the first one. It sounds like a lot, like it's like a few octaves higher.
This, in a way, though, it could kind of be seen as in an arc way of all of Pixar's oeuvre as kind of a spiritual sequel to Toy Story 3, because in Toy Story 3, Andy is going off to college, and now they're kind of they have the childhood aspect, and then in Brave they had like the girl trying to grow up aspect and Andy going to college aspect, and now they're getting to college.
That's cool. That's really cool.
It's a really interesting kind of thing that they're doing as a
It would be
company.
fascinating to see how they blend token college humor in a safe
Well,
environment.
I'm sure though.
PG Disney movie.
I'm sure that has a lot to do with the fact that these Pixar, they started as young guys and they're getting older and their kids are getting older and I'm sure their kids are starting to go to college and things like that. So it makes sense that they're kind of taking that journey.
That's a good point. A lot of the brain trust probably.
Yeah, they
have
can't make an
different
animated movie about animators in an animation studio.
I mean, I think this is going to be more of a coming of age story. That'll be the emotional arc, and you'll have like the old school.
It's going to be like the
kind of
American Pie.
I just hope that
college humor.
Again, I've seen these characters develop into a maturity that I thought was beautiful in Monsters Incorporated. I don't know how crazy I am to see them.
Well, you saw Sulley do that. Mike Wazowski doesn't really have.
Mike
much of an
Wazowski
arc.
settles down.
Yeah.
And Boo, man. I don't know if I could see a Monsters movie without Boo.
I mean, I think I like the direction they're taking with it because it's definitely. I think they can definitely pull off the movie that they're going for, which I really, like I said, I think it is like an American Pie / old school / Animal House kind of movie, but made for the whole family, but with these characters.
In that case, you're right. That is a big challenge to do it for the whole family.
I think it's going to be like the college humor kind of movie, frat boy movie, but for the family. And I think
actually, you know, if kids are seeing that before going to college, they might have a more wholesome experience.
I think it looks.
Are the kids that actually saw this in college? Me neither.
I mean,
that's the thing. A lot of that was.
I'm sure there are some that are now in.
They
college.
would be. I mean, no, they would be. Honestly.
Well,
if we're gonna do some math, I'm gonna age myself. I saw this when I was in 9th grade, and now I'm out of college. So kids who saw it when they were in 6th grade are now in college.
Yeah.
So. And that was a big thing with Toy Story too. A lot of people followed Andy's route.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to draw attention. Now this guy.
He looks
funny.
great.
We're going to be seeing tons of new monsters, tons, and throughout this trailer, I mean, they're sprinkled through the whole thing. Like, and in Monsters Inc., we saw a whole factory worth of them, but we kind of focused on kind of like 12 of them that kind of would appear. But in this, I mean, they showed probably at least 50 new monsters in this, so that's kind of fun.
But no Steve Buscemi's character.
No Steve Buscemi's character. Randall is not.
I'm gonna miss him.
I mean, we'll see. You
We'll
never
see.
know. You never know.
He might be a transfer student.
Or Jennifer Tilly. I don't think we've seen her either.
Yeah, we haven't seen her.
Yeah,
but I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be tons that we're gonna be able to see.
I mean, it's Pixar. I'm excited. Obviously, it's just.
I think it's a return to form.
I would have loved to have seen a Monsters Inc. like 2 like continuation, but also, I think I would have been. That would have done. It would have inevitably been disappointing compared to like the emotional high that they end that movie on.
Yeah,
Monsters Inc. is like a perfect film. Like it's just exactly how the emotional arc goes in terms of creativity and emotion. It's just like perfect.
I'm sure that they sat down and they're like, okay, we're gonna do something with monsters, the Monsters universe. We can either go the prequel route or the sequel route. If we go the prequel route, at least we can have Mike and Sulley meeting and kind of the evolution of the world, getting it to the point where Monsters Inc. starts. It's a clear ending and it sets you up nicely for the next film. If we do the sequel route though. Okay, so they've changed everything, and now humans are like they're doing laughing and that kind of stuff. So basically, the whole movie would be about like jokes and stuff.
Yeah,
where's the drama?
Well, no.
Because there has to be some kind of drama to do the comedy.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. I don't know what it is. Like what Boo goes missing or something.
And also, it might put your mind at ease because they could sequelize any one of their properties. Of their first like 5 films, I think this was number 4 in their films.
I think you're right. Or Toy Story, Bugs Life 2, or Bugs Life, Toy Story 2.
Then this, I believe.
Yeah, this was before Nemo, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. This, of like the first 5 movies that they made, was actually one of the lower grossing movies.
Yeah.
So.
And the 3D re-release did terribly.
Yeah, so it's not like they were like, oh man, we're gonna cash in on this one. Like they would have made a.
That's a very good point.
I was gonna say they would have made a Finding Nemo 2, but that's out.
That's a very good point because Cars, the reason a lot of people think cynically maybe said the reason we made a Cars 2 is because the merchandising of Cars was like $1 billion.
And it's like, I mean, they're a Disney-owned company. They turn out amazing products. So I'm not gonna like hold it against Pixar if every now and then they're like, we're just gonna make a nice family.
Well,
film.
I don't think
like,
that should excuse. Like, I hold good filmmakers to high standards, and I hold good, studios like this to high standards. I don't think it's excusable to be. I mean, yeah, they can make one.
Their
for
business model though has
once in a while.
changed. They have decided to turn out a movie every year.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be ones that it's like, and I'm not saying that like this is great. I wish every movie was a masterpiece, but like if a Brave comes out every year and then you get a Toy Story 3, who like Toy Story 3 hit like the high of Pixar in terms of like that was, as good as Pixar movies get.
Toy Story 3.
So and everybody kind of thought that might have been just a cash cow.
Well, it goes back to that kind of like Woody Allen argument. Is like at the end of the day, Woody Allen has maybe 10 near classics, right? Now, is that the same as Kubrick, who has about 12 classics, but Kubrick only made 12 movies, or 12 big movies, big studio movies, and Woody Allen just has 10 or 12 good movies in a career that has 50-some movies.
I'd prefer to have a Pixar movie every year. And like have one be like really good and fun, and like just in and out, and then like every 3 years they turn out one that's like Wall-E.
Yeah,
like,
and say what you will, they all end up having something about them that is redeeming.
Yeah, none of them suck.
None of them are.
Like Cars 2 sucks.
I didn't see Cars.
Cars 2 is very.
And I would argue that Cars 1 sucks.
Cars 1 doesn't suck.
Cars 1 is pretty bad.
It doesn't suck.
People didn't even like Brave, and I loved it.
I loved Brave too. I thought Brave was really good.
I'm kind of indifferent about Brave.
But
it's better the second time I saw it, but
Monsters University is coming out this summer.
I'm sure I'm gonna.
You're gonna strike out every now and then, but you gotta step up to the plate.
What I'm afraid of, all I'm saying again, what I'm afraid
You
of.
want it to be Disney. You want it to be like old Disney. Every movie was like.
Yeah, I want it to be.
Amazing.
I really loved for the longest time that Pixar was like an event. And I know where you're coming from. Like they have one every year. That's fine. That takes away the event aspect of it. It
does.
It's like, it's okay. This one happens to be really good. And if this one is just good and not classic, like Monsters Incorporated, that kind of diffuses the power of the original. Whether we want to admit it or not, the sequels to The Matrix diffused the power of the original in pop culture and the zeitgeist of how we talk about the Matrix movies. And the same goes for, a lot of
I
other
don't
franchises.
think that this movie can undo the
Well,
legacy.
this is what's for sure.
I'm just hypothetically.
This movie and many of Pixar's movies will make a child happy one day for 2 hours. I don't know why you want the children to be miserable, Andrew. Until
A
next
stick
time,
will
we
make a
want to know
child
what
happy
you
for 2
think.
hours.
Comment below. We will be commenting back. Jimmy and I are very excited about this. Andrew doesn't like children. So,
disappointing.
For Instant Trailer Review, I'm Ryan.
I'm Jimmy.
I'm Andrew, and
Thank
I
you
don't
for
like
watching.
children.